War. It's one of the most inhumane and yet one of the most human parts of our existence, dating back as far as we can know and still showing up all over the world today. Hi, my name is Ethan Boho, and today I'm going to be giving you a brief history of the conflict between Palestine and Israel. Now, to truly understand this, we have to understand the people. The Muslim people and the Jewish people, although being very different, have very intertwined pasts and religious roots. So when it comes to having the same Holy Land and having a lot of the same temples that they need to worship at and pilgrimage to, it can create conflict in between the two people when it comes to control. Now, for the modern history, we started just after World War II. So right after the Holocaust, we have lots of Jewish people immigrating from Europe back to their homeland, Israel. As well, we have Britain with control over Palestine and Israel with a mandate on them. Now, in 1947, Britain passed the Resolution of 181, which was a partition of Israel and Palestine, which created two lands for them. Unfortunately, Israel was not content with the land given to them and used their militant power to go into the Palestine land and take what they felt was theirs. Now, this provoked a war of terror from the Palestinian people, from anything from riots to protests to strapping bombs to their chests and going into Israeli cafes. Now, what this led to was a war between Israel and even some Arab neighboring countries such as Syria, Jordan, Egypt, and Lebanon. Now, Israel won all of these, and this led to the establishment of what we know the land as today, as the Israeli land, the Gaza Strip, and the West Bank. Now, this led to the First Intifada, which the Intifadas were basically the Palestinian mass protests and mass riots and mass terrorist acts against this Israeli government. Now, this went on for a few years, and it led to what was called the Oslo Accords, which was supposed to be a 5-year plan that led to Palestinian self-governance, but it was not a good plan. It was established by the Israelis, but it was not going to work. Neither the Palestinians or the Israelis liked the plan, and it led to the assassination of the Israeli prime minister by a Jewish right-wing extremist. Now, what this led to was a new president, Sharon. He was a military man, and the first act he did was leading a Jewish march on the Temple Mount. The Temple Mount is one of the most important religious places for both people, and he declared it's theirs, and that angered a lot of Muslim people, and it led to the Second Intifada. Now, the Second Intifada was a little bit more extreme and went on a little bit longer, but this did lead to a bit of a bigger response. In 2004, Sharon had all Israelis leave the West Bank, which was beneficial for some Palestinians and created more land for them. Now, this created two Palestinian lands that were completely separate but still considered Palestinian, and they were governed by two separate entities. In the West Bank, we had the Palestinian Authority, and in the Gaza Strip, we have Hamas, which is what we know today. Now, the conflict we know today is no extreme changes since then. It's just been a long history of conflict and hate for each other and land loss and just a simmering pot of emotions for both people. Now we have to look at the perspectives of the two people. Now we can first look at the Jewish perspective. The Jewish people have had a long history of having their land taken from them and then being persecuted. Now we can even go back all the way to the Babylonians taking Israel and Jerusalem, as well as the Romans shortly after Jesus' death. This has been a long history of them losing their homeland, so they feel they deserve it, and they also feel that God has given them this land. Now, when it comes to the Palestinian people, they assisted the British in defeating the Ottoman Empire and in World War One, and felt that they deserved like some sort of recognition and some sort of land gain for that, and then they were not given that, and instead they were had their land taken by the Israelis, and this angered them. So they feel that they aren't attacking Israel; they're just trying to get what's back, or get back what was theirs, and that is how they justify what they're doing. Now, I don't know who is right. I don't know who's wrong. It has been a long history in between the two people, and I just believe it is important to stay informed on what is happening between these two countries, as although it may not affect you, it affects the people around us, and it doesn't hurt to have some knowledge of it so that we can be sensitive, because it is terrible, and there are terrible acts all the time, and yeah, thank you.